Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm so excited, so excited to kick off my very first episode of Minding My Damn Business. Man, I have to say, out of all of the projects and ventures I explore and get myself into, this one is the most exciting for me because it gives me the ability to do something that I love to do, which is run my mouth. So as a child, I always got in trouble with my mom for talking too much. As a student in school, I got in trouble for talking too much. Even as a grown-ass woman at work, I got written up mostly for talking too damn much. But you know what? I have found the perfect scenario for me to be able to talk too damn much. And who gonna check me? Nobody. So let's jump right into this. I want to introduce myself. My name is B Wise. I am the curator behind Minding My Damn Business. I am a wife. I am a sister. I am a friend. I'm probably a foe to some people, but whatever. I am an all-around fun, witty girl who is living intentionally to create the life that I want. I am a former full-time employee turned full-time entrepreneur. And I'm just out here living life, y'all, having fun. So, there's one important thing before we get started. Now, everybody should know by now, drinking water is an important part of minding your damn business. So, I'm going to go ahead and take some sips. And I am ready to go. So, what is minding my damn business? I know you all are like, is she like shading people? Like she talking about like what's happening here? Because for eons, we've heard this phrase, right? And this phrase is pretty much directed towards somebody who is stepping over a line or out of a boundary in somebody else's business or in somebody's conversation, and they don't even know what they talking about, and you just be like, hey, like, yo, mind your damn business. But I promise you, here, there is a purpose to this. So minding my damn business is focused around one word, and that's mindset. And we do not realize the power and the magic that aligns when we use our mindset positively and purposely. So I think we can all agree this year has been real stank globally, right? And we're bogged down right now with a whole bunch of distractions. Elections, COVID, flu, stomach flu, Cardi B and somebody getting divorced and all this bullshit. But does this stuff honestly need to be in our subconscious all day, every day, distracting us from what we need to do for ourselves to win? Absolutely not. So that is what minding my damn business is about. I am going to be sitting down with people in my network. I have badass people in my network. And I am going to speak to these people, and I want to know, and I want them to share with you, what are their minding my damn business moments? What is the story? We want the story. You know, I don't want to hear, oh, well, you know, I got this degree and I work here and I like long walks in the park. No, I want the story. We are going to be peeling back the layers because people who make it and gain success, and I'm not speaking of just business, I'm talking about successful completion of whatever goal it might be, there is some ugliness to the story. There's disappointment. There's pivoting. There's days where you're like, fuck all of this, and your mama and the dog too. That's what I want. I want that story, and I want my guests to be able to talk to you all to understand that we got to put these distractions to rest. We have to get super hyper focused. It don't matter who the president is. It don't matter who the vice president is. It don't matter that the BGE bill ain't going to get paid on time. We got to sit down and get hyper focused, y'all, in order to win. And so, you know, when I was thinking about how am I going to structure this, I had, you know, some consultation and communication with my creative director. And they were like, hey, yo, if anybody got a story, you got to start with yours. And I'm like, for real? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, but see, I don't really think, I mean, I know I got a story, but, you know, I don't really know. She was like, yeah, no, don't even try that. Like, don't try that humble stuff now. Like, bitch, all that arrogance and confidence you be walking around with, put that shit out there. So that is what's happening tonight. I'm going to tell my story. Wow. So I'll start from the end and I'll make my way back to how it all started. So in 2012, I was promoted to the rank of EMS lieutenant in the fire department, which I served for 16 years. That made me the first Black woman to ever reach that rank, to ever be called a lieutenant, to ever proudly wear a white shirt and be a boss. So, how did that all start though, right? Man. In 2003, March 17th was my very first day in the academy. And I promise y'all, one of the main reasons I got into the fire department was because somebody said, oh, you get 4 days off. Now, when I tell people that, they laugh, but I promise you, that was probably ranked up somewhere between 1 and 3 of the reasons why I entered into the fire department. And very quickly, that first day, I realized I might have made a mistake. The culture shock, I tell you, when I walked into the door of that fire department was very overwhelming. It was a class of 40. 8 of us were African American, and the 8 of us who were African American had no experience. I would say another 20 of our colleagues were volunteers for years. They had families that been in the fire service for years. So it was an intimidating, overwhelming time. But in addition to that, so the very first day is like all the important stuff, all the important people, all the important paperwork. And I remember all these white shirts were coming into the room to speak to us about what it means to be in the brotherhood and the fire service. And the main thing that I noticed about the white shirts was none of them looked like me. It was later on that I found that the white shirts were like the super important people, the lieutenants, the captains, the chiefs. And I'm like, well, where the people that like, so they like, yeah, no, go sit down. Like, so, I made a promise to myself. You know, there's a quote. I'm a quote girl, love quotes. There's a quote. I don't know who said it, who wrote it. But the quote says, be the change that you want to see. And I remember very vividly my first day I took a yellow sticky note, like this, a regular Post-it note. And I wrote on the Post-it note, I am going to become an officer within 10 years of service. And I took this little Post-it note and I put it in my locker. And every station I went to, whether it was a transfer, this Post-it note went with me. And every day I was at work, open up my locker, that reminder was sitting there. You are going to be an officer in 10 years. So I planted that seed subconsciously. You know, it's just the way our brain and our mind work. And I'm not going to get too much into that tonight, because I have a very, very special guest who is going to be coming on to talk about all of that spiritual, psychic, intuitive stuff. Like, this girl is the bomb. But anyway, let me get back. So every day I went to work and I had this yellow Post-it note that was the reminder. The seed was planted and the vision was there. I started to see myself in this white shirt, coming in, acting like I'm important. And so years went past. I was a paramedic firefighter for a number of years, and I served the community proudly. But you know what? I never quite fitted in to the culture. So I stayed in trouble. Prime example, right? So when I was hired into the department, I had already came with my paramedic certification, which, here again, another history-making moment. I was the second Black woman ever hired into the department already holding a paramedic license. So I remember in recruit class, they would pull all of us paramedics out of the class in order for us to do paramedic stuff and train the paramedic way, right? And I was the only brown girl. And so all of my colleagues, they were like going at it and like, yeah, we're paramedics and da-da-da-da-da. And I was not confident initially. And I vividly remember a conversation with one of my previous colleagues that told me, maybe you should just be an EMT, because maybe being a paramedic is not for you. Now, hold that thought. So, once we graduated from the academy, I got out into the field. And the academy felt the same way that my colleagues felt. They would not clear me to function as a paramedic, right? So throughout my career, I had some very, very supportive men that would stand up at the right time to say, you know what? That shit ain't right. And there was two at the time. One was named Donnie. One was named Rob, and they would come work with me every so often, and they were like, I do not understand why you're not functioning as a paramedic. So Donnie, Rob, and a gentleman named Buddy wrote letters to the chief to say, you know, you really are doing the community a disservice by holding this young lady back. And I say within 9 months of me being in the field, they finally released me to function as a paramedic, which was a proud moment for me. However, you know, going down this path, I'm paramedic, and what I'm hearing is I'm aggressive, I'm attitudinal, I'm disrespectful, but then my colleagues are confident and strong, and oh wow, you know, if I ever got sick, that's the one that I would want to work on me. Well, pause. There's no difference in the attitude or the behavior or the characteristic. Why do I have the negative connotation and everybody else has this assertive, okay, whatever. So we're going down this path, and by year 5, I started to get very serious about promoting. So I started to build my network across the U.S. Fire Service, met so many friends, people who I'm still friends with today, that kept me uplifted, that kept me encouraged. I attended trainings on my own dime. I would be up 24, 48 hours at time, preparing myself, preparation. So I'm going to get into some of the principles of minding my damn business, and preparation is one. So met all these people, I did all these things, and going. So we get to year 9. Now remember, I told you that I had this sticky note that kept reminding me, 10 years, you're going to be an officer. You're going to be an officer. So we make it to year 7, and the promotional exam, the opportunity presents itself. So I'm like, you know what? I got all the classes I need. I got all the credentials I need. I'm going for it. So walk into my test date, and another very overwhelming moment for me in the fire service. It was about 77 candidates that was there to take this promotional exam. And so get in there, and I'm going through this test because I, studied, and I had all my classes, and I networked with other people to get prepared. So I'm going through this test, and I'm like, this shit is pretty easy. Either I'm failing horribly, or I'm just a badass bitch. So I went with the latter. Fast forward, completed the promotional exam. Now, 77 people, 77 candidates took this test. Results come. I am number 8. Number 8 on the list of 77 people, right? And that was a moment that I was so proud of, but I kept it to myself because I felt like if I was to put it out there, then the discouragement and the negative energy would start to flow in. And I have to protect this mindset at all costs. I have to mind my damn business. It doesn't matter what EMT misery says, what paramedic negative says. My mindset, my vision, and me minding my damn business says I'm going to get promoted. So I come out number 8. They immediately promote 6 lieutenants. So that left me at number 2, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I'm number 2. Now, if anybody knows anything about promotional processes in police and fire, these take very long times. Once you test and you get on the list, it's a 2-year list. So you can sit up to 2 years waiting to get promoted. So I come out so once they promote the first 6, I'm number 2, y'all. I'm number 2. So I'm like, all right, I'm telling my chain of command, I'm like, I'm number 2 on the lieutenant's list. Like, when y'all gonna like start getting me, into action, when I'm gonna start learning, when I'm gonna start preparing for my position. Pie in the face, okay, y'all? These mofos was like, we don't know what you talking about. Every time that I asked to be put with a lieutenant so I could start to learn my position, like gas face. They like, oh, well, we can't generate overtime to take you out your position, or well, we can't take a unit down to a BLS level in order for you to start to get trained. So I'm like, well, that's peculiar because my colleague over here, y'all did backflips to get them. Okay, whatever. But here again, that's none of my business. You know why? Because my vision and my mindset says that I am going to get promoted. I don't give a damn what Chief Cray Cray says or what Battalion Chief whoever says. My mindset says I'm getting promoted. So you know what I did? I said, well, look, how about this? On my days off, I will take the initiative on my days off to come into work and ride with a lieutenant so I can start to prepare myself for my bugles. You know what? I was met with, oh, well, you could do that, but it doesn't count. It really doesn't count because you have to ride with your lieutenant. So you can really go and ride with whatever lieutenant you want, but in order for it to count, you have to ride with your lieutenant because it was like a packet that had to be filled out. So I'm like, okay, all right, what's next? So I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take off from my particular shift, have somebody work for me, and then I'll just come into work and ride with my lieutenant. And that's what I did. I had to take off from work to then go into work in order to ride with my lieutenant to get prepared for my promotion as I'm sitting number 2 on the promotional list. So again, there's these people that always stepped up at certain times in my career. And there was this one particular chief that was like, why is she off the roster, but coming into work and riding with her? Like, why are we doing this? And now everybody like, well, this person said we can't. And he was like, you know what? Stop this bullshit. So then they finally were able to get me in, getting cleared, getting prepared, and getting cleared to alternate in the position that I was about to be promoted into. Man, another quick story. So I did not tell a lot of people where I was sitting at on this promotional list. Again, I just never fitted in well with the culture and the environment. So I was very secretive with a lot of stuff. One day we were in a paramedic refresher class. And it was a group of people talking, and you know, it's like, oh, promotion is coming up, and the group is like, well, we know such and such is number 1, and we know such and such is number 3, and this person's number 4. Who is number 2? So I chimed in, and I was like, oh, I'm number 2. And like all the oxygen sucked out of the room for like a few seconds, and then it came back. And they were like, really? It's like, yeah, I'm number 2. And I will never forget vividly, one of my colleagues' response to that was, oh, well, be careful around a set of steps. But y'all know what? I believed they ass. Like, yeah, I believed it. So, you know, but here again, his hate was none of my damn business because my vision told me that I was going to become a lieutenant. So, February 12th, 2012, February 2nd, 2012, my phone rings and the lady on the other end says, may I speak to Bianca Thompson? And I say, this is she. She says, stand by for the fire chief. And at that point, I knew it. My bugle was awarded. And I spoke to the fire chief. We had a very brief conversation. He congratulated me. They actually confirmed that there was no Black female prior to me to ever reach this rank. And February 12, 2012 was my effective date and my very first day as Lieutenant Bianca Thompson, which was 9 years and 11 months. 9 years and 11 months I promoted. And remember, my little sticky pad said 10 years. So, if anybody can talk about the power of your mindset and minding your damn business and how far it can take you, I can. And so that actually brings me to the end of my first episode. Please, please, please follow, because I'm going to be rolling out some super badass people, y'all. And I'm so excited. So I want to leave you with this. Stop standing by watching other people win. Get to work and mind your damn business. And drink your water.